Hello YouTubers, it's Travis, glad to see you. We're nearing the end of AFR season, so it's actually kind of exciting to have a draft like this one, where I got to try an archetype that I don't try very often, as well as get to play with a rare that I don't actually think I had encountered before, at least not on my side of the board. So I hope that you will enjoy this draft and are as excited for Innistrad Midnight Hunt as I am. We will be drafting that very soon. Enjoy! Alright, it is time to party. And how do we want to party? We could party with a Grim Bounty, or we could party with the Druid class. What's up, Ishtari? Thank you for the 26 months of support.
Sem hi.
Thank you very much, buddy. Y'all spam some cats for Ishtari. Ishtari, Mist, and Patsy, thank you all very much for the support today. I'm honestly not sure which I like better. They both lead in very different directions. Yeah, I kind of want to take Druid class, but feel like I have a hard time justifying it, but I guess I don't need to. If we get into Green-White Life Gain, this is like bomb adjacent. I mean, if we get past something really good in black, maybe I have some regrets, but I can deal. Why would you pass that? This is really good, right? So it's 3 mana Venture. But once you've done that, it's pretty good. I've actually played Druid class in some other decks, Eagle, and had it be okay. I think it shines in green-white, right? Because you can start gaining life, putting counters on your unicorns and your treeless arrows. But I've played this a good bit in blue-green as well, where you just kind of need a little bit of a time buffer and then an arbitrarily large creature. So it can go in other decks, it's just not great there. Man, they're really pushing this, right? Because we've got like, hey, here's some good black cards if you want to go on this plan. And here's the Moonblessed Cleric and the Priest of Ancient Lore if you want to do that. But I think I'd like to play out Ace. Yeah, I do think it's better when it's a fancy combo piece and a Dreadmaw. I think I want the bounty. I've already got something to do with a decent amount of mana. And I kind of want the drop too. Like, we can buckle in and be like, hey, we're black. We don't know what the other color is yet. When we get there, we'll get there. That's fine. Because I'm pretty comfortable with this. It could be black-white. Could pretty easily be black-white. I always say the draft starts at pick 5, and here we are pick 5, and no one wanted this plate armor. I find this interesting. Now, I do like me an Instrument of the Bards. Most people do not like Instrument of the Bards, so this isn't a signal. That said, I'm still going to take it, because if this deck comes together, ideally we'll be able to use it, and if it doesn't, I can probably find another 3-1. It's entirely possible, Del. Like, it's still a very good card, but the fact that there's very good main deckable artifact removal, like Plundering Barbarians, and what's the Prisoners one? There's a 2-mana instant speed one, and I think most good players by now have figured out that they should be main decking the Cursed Idol. So there's like 3 solid main deckable cards, 2 at common and 1 at uncommon, that just hose artifacts. The thing is, if you don't have one, plate armor will kill you, which I dig about it. Yeah, I think it's you find some prisoners. I'm just going to take the Zombie Ogre here because I think we're pretty content buckling into black, and I don't really know or care what the other color is. Like, we can find that out in pack 2 if we need to. I also like You Find Some Prisoners a lot more than most people. Yeah, it's kind of the last thing you'd want to play, you know? I think I could play a dungeon map here. Like, we're certainly very interested in venturing. I don't know how people don't like that, but there's people who don't like it. I guess they can't read? It's artifact removal with super cycling that cycles through your opponent's deck. Okay, so nobody at the table wanted Barrowin. This leads me to believe that black-white is open. White may not be open, but I think black-white is, and I think we can capitalize on that. I have played Fate's Reversal in this style of deck before, so I takes it here. It is somewhat awkward to take cards from your opponent's deck when they could potentially bounce them. Okay, that's playable. I think we found ourselves in black-white. Kind of by default. We did. We saw them pretty early, and it was somewhat cut. But that's part of the challenge of navigating a draft, is what do you let go through, and how much do you respect your neighbor's ability to read what's open or to just force what they opened. What's up, Bruce? I'm doing all right. I hope you are too. I could still see us getting into green if it's incredibly open, because we have the Instrument of the Bards, which is a very good card, but also one that a lot of people don't seem to respect. I mean, I feel like we just take this and do black-white now. This strikes me as the correct direction for our deck. So we need a Sepulchre Ghoul or two. We could probably use an Evolving Wilds. But at this point, I don't think I particularly care what my 2-drops are, and I would definitely like a Priest or two. So I think we're going to go early on this Priest. I also think we're probably not looking to play Herald, but we could. We need a couple 2s and a couple 3s. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, Bruce. Do we want Warlock class in this deck? That's a card that initially I didn't like very much, but I have come to respect a great deal. I suppose the argument is, do I want any of these other cards over it? And the answer to that is no, which means we're taking the Warlock class, and we can decide if we're playing it later. That is an incredibly late long rest. Warlock class overall is pretty good. I've played it in a lot of different decks and been happy with it, and it is a threat. It changes the way the game needs to be played. Well, probably time to take our first 2-drop. Somewhat underwhelming, but we needs it. Our colors are drying up a bit, which I wouldn't call that ideal, but we can live with it. I'll likely play this Pegasus. The first pack was good enough that I think we could get away with it. I do need a little bit more early game, and the Shambling Ghast can be quite good at that. And if there's ever a deck that could play Gloomstalker, this is probably it, but I certainly don't feel compelled to take it now. Okay, there's another Precipitous Drop and a Dwarf Champion. I kind of want both. Yeah, that just means this pack will be dry, but we'll be good on the next one. I think I want the second drop a little more, but that's really going to push me into being a bit desperate for 2 drops in the next pack. This is also a little bit better than I expected. We're probably playing the Fates Reversal and just stock up on 2s. Can play, well, I'm not going to side that in, and this is free gems. Don't care so much about the vault progress. It's pretty easy ROG. We need 2 drops. That's a pretty good one. If Oswald wheeled and we picked up a torch, we could potentially cash in a torch for a plate armor? Duh. I still do need some more bodies, right? Like, yeah, I was going to say this looks like about 10 creatures, and I probably need one more. I want the Dungeoneer, but I think the deck probably needs the Vampire Spawn. Like, that's a good 3-drop to bring back with Home Slice, right? Yeah. And I don't need more 4s. I'm going to have to take a 4 here. Unless I want Demogorgon's Clutches. No, I don't think I can take it. I think we just have to take the Skellington and be a little sad. It's not a happy Skellington. Man, there's a Minimoose, which I'm going to take, but I think I would take a medium creature over this. The Tapper may be better. I already have one of those, so I think I'd rather have something with like higher power and toughness that can threaten to trade with things or punch through damage, because I have not found 2 of the Tappers to be good together. Like, I don't really want to play that Minimus Containment. Weirdly. I kind of just want 2 more 2-drops, but such is the nature of things. We can use this as a 2-drop if we have to. This would have been a very powerful card 10 years ago. The problem is the creatures are so powerful now that you can be run over before you get this in play and then have time to start activating it. Like, its stat block is just unimpressive. Yeah, I'm actually going to take that for gems. We wouldn't play any of the rest of this. Well, there's another one if we want to. Our early game is fine. Fine. If we make room for one of these 2. Let's make room for you and cut out these Skellingtons. The Torch Spun, I don't know that I actually want it. If I took it, it would be over the dungeon map, eh? Gotta decide about that. It's a late Brunor. I do think we've ended up with like enough playables. We're good to go. I don't know that this deck really needs the dungeon map. I might just prefer the torch now that I'm looking at it. Like, the downside of the torch is I don't really have anything that's like great at attacking once it's equipped, and my creature curve is kind of bad. So I kind of feel like I don't want to be playing two equipments. It's weird though to be playing the dungeon map and not really being ramping to anything. Like, it's not like a turn 5 Beholder is game over, man. Yeah, I don't think I want the torch. I think I like having the mana sink of Herald and the dungeon map as possibilities. There would be virtually no reason to splash for Brunor in this deck. At least I can't think of one. But this looks all right. Do what you want for the splash and be free. All right, let's take this one out for a spin. I wonder how long it'll take for the round to actually pair, because it took us 18 minutes to get this draft to start. Okay, the answer was it took a minute and a half for us to pair. I have not tried the Tinker's Cube, and it is unlikely that I will. I am not a huge fan of Cube. I've done Cube in the past, but it's really just not my jam. Everybody grab a leg. Why is there a plus sign on my cursor? I'm not used to that. This is not a bad start. It got worse. I guess we're going to use the half-elf monk to tap it. And that's going to be our strategy against it. Which means I'm probably chump blocking it with this 1/3 this turn. And ideally we'd be able to kill another creature and then still tap that in the next turn. Bit of a challenge if they just slam kill the half-elf monk. Because now I don't think well, I suppose I still can chump block it. Yeah, I kind of have to, because like they're just going to pit trap it, the ogre, if I go that route. So I need to try to minimize the damage that this thing is doing, which I think means we're going to precipitous drop this turn, just to get this a little bit more under control. 3/2 I can like conceivably trade with. Now interestingly, our deck really wants, the gas doesn't take it out. It will after I precipitous drop it. That would be 2 for 1-ing ourselves, which ideally we're not doing. Now the question here is, do we go for the Temple of Annihilation because the deck wants to run the Temple of Annihilation, Or do we go for the mine because that's a better choice here? And I think given that there's one card that wants us to go through the tomb and staying alive wants us to go through the mine, we probably go through the mine. Do you solve our problem? An offensive 2-drop. Not really. And the sword is just a 2/1 flyer, right? Yeah. That's an owl bear. Cute. Okay. I've been fairly unimpressed with the sort, I gotta say. I'm not sure what you're talking about. The sword? The sword's really good. We're actively losing this game to the sword. The rest of their deck is unimpressive. The sword is impressive. All right, I don't need a mana sink. That means we play out the Herald, let the Pit Trap take the Herald to take 6, play the Zombie Ogre, take 2. So we're at 10, and then we're going to try to stabilize from there. Because I assume Herald just immediately dies. I may bring in the other half-elf monk, specifically if we see more equipment from them, because the half-elf monk is very good against equipment. Monday or Wednesday. I can do either of those of next week. All right, Zombie Ogre would allow me to block it, in theory. All right, let's do Wednesday. I will put it on my calendar right now. I have to have a calendar now that I'm a big fancy esports person. So I have 15th set review with John. Look at that. As you can see, Warlock class is pretty impressive here. I would far rather them block here, but I don't think they will. They did for some reason, and we approve of this message. Oh man, it's so terrible. I have to miss this week. No. Y'all have fun. This Thursday is Simwife and my wedding anniversary. I will be taking the day off to spend with Simwife. Man, that seems like a pretty good play. And this is Ward 1, right? Yeah. We could swing for 5.
Tolerate evil in this realm.
The thing is, do you think we're going to be able to swing hard for 2 turns in a row when we know they have a 6-2 blocker? So the question is, do we think that we win this game if we go long, or do we think that we win it if we go fast? Five damage is pretty significant. Let's give it a go. They don't have a combat trick, or if they do, they've drawn it in the last few turns. Because they didn't use anything when they attacked the 4-4 into the 3-5. One vampire spawn. We're not going to burn them out with vampire spawns. They are ignoring my Planeswalker. What do they know that I do not? That it is minimusly contained. Okay, I'm glad I used it defensively then. So you can kind of see the challenge here, eh? Well, I can make them block. They would trade the zombie ogre for the troll. That's not quite good enough. We can kill both and activate the good old warlock class. Yeah, they do have to block if I attack. It's a very aggressive line. Puts them to 3. I'm not going to have the mana to activate this again, because it's not like I'm getting to 7 mana quickly. But I guess we can go fish for a card, because even a removal spell here would be pretty good. Yeah, Precipitous Drop may just close this game out. The Menace may just close this game out too, but this gets us something dead, potentially, and a hit for 2. So I think I like the aggressive line here. That is probably not what they wanted to happen with their troll, which pleases me. The troll can be very good. There's some situational cards in this set. I've had decks that were bloody terrified of a loathsome troll. And I've had other decks that were like, who cares, charm sleep it, move along. It is interesting that the pacifism of the set doesn't do anything against it. Boop. We're scared of the sword early, particularly on a Dwarf Hold champion. It would also be really annoying on an Owl Beer. I don't know what other equipment they may or may not have, which makes me somewhat reticent to play a second half-elf monkey. The Beholder's is certainly a nice include. Blink Dog is not good versus containments, no. Use they, please, Scary. We do not know the gender of our opponent. I don't have a lot of a sideboard. The real question is, do we want another half-elf monk or not? Over something like a Herald of Hadar. Or would we rather have a devoted paladin? That's an interesting thought, especially if we're trying to get a little more aggressive. I still think I might rather have the other half-elf monk, though. We'll see. We'll see. But I'd like to give this another try. So when something phases out, it keeps everything attached to it that is already attached to it. So it's not like if they minimus containment the Blink Dog, we could later phase it out to remove them. It would lose the ability to phase out, for starters. And then for second, even if we could phase it out, it would still come back with that attached to it. Phasing is different than things like blinking, where you would exile it and then return it. If you exile stuff, everything falls off. So you'd basically have to sit there with the mana open, which is not going to work out real well. If you do it in response, Minimus would go to the grave, but that means that they're Minimus containmenting your 1/1, and you're holding mana up for the entirety of the game, which you're probably not going to be able to do. Slow start from them. Which I like. Huge fan of that. Something gets creatures, right? Yeah, sadly. Probably be too good if you could start bringing back precipitous drops. Let's go ahead and let the beatings commence. Because we can get any blocker out of the way and start connecting for 4, and this game's functionally over. They just don't have enough lands, which, I mean, sucks for them. They shouldn't mind discarding here, so I guess that's the upside. They got plenty of stuff to discard. A compelled duel. I'm glad we got that out of their hand. That could have been dangerous for them. They might have played it. Okay, you doing your thing. Draft Hero is completed. Everything is available on YouTube. You can see the whole series there. The final one went up on Saturday. Took 22 drafts. I don't really need that. Well, there we go. Round 1, great success. Draft Hero did not hit top 1200. It's kind of an ugly opener, but we'll give it a go. What? I wanted to tell them to grab a leg. Their start was a little faster than ours, but I don't much care about them having a flump. So mana efficiency wants me to jam out the half-elf monk, but staying alive, or excuse me, the plate armor, but staying alive is like, dude, just cast the dungeon crawler. You'll be okay. I've seen some people that think Flump is just a good card. I do not agree with them, but I do not particularly need to. They've still got some potentially great attacks here with that Forsworn Paladin. So I'm kind of hoping they don't notice them. Right. I don't think I want to be attacking with the half-elf monk. I've already got a handful of good cards and they don't. So there's no sense feeding the flump. This is one of the good attacks that I referenced that they have. I really don't care for it. but they can pump this. Well, they can only pump it once. I'm kind of fine with that. Like, I wouldn't say that's great for us, but I feel like we're stable adjacent here. It'd be really freaking nice to draw one of the cards. We've got two of the shock cards, right? Precipitous Drop. It'd be nice to draw one of them. So I think we're going to go fish for one with the Warlock class next turn, take a hit here, and then probably be stable. Because I think if the Paladin's gone, we're in okay shape. Now we've got to kill the Paladin and the Pegasus. But step one, Paladin gone. Kind of need another removal spell. None of these are removal spells, are they? I suppose if I take the map, I can cast that and the Cleric this turn, and that gives me another mana sink, which is something. I don't really want to cast it because I need the tap, so maybe I should have just taken the land. So what magic do you use, Flump, and when? I have never played it and cannot envision scenarios where I would. Yeah, I don't see why you would want to play it in Limited. You can. I suppose in Limited you would play it if you have a deck that wants to race and you believe that your deck is better than your opponent's deck. I don't think it would sideboard in well against aggro, because aggro would would be able to deploy the cards they're drawing faster than you would, presumably. This is not good enough. I suppose we still try to not die. But I don't like our chances. I suppose we're just another removal spell away from stable adjacent.
Happy 34.
Yes.
This subscription is stable adjacent.
Thank you very much, my friend. Y'all spam some cats for Yas. All right, so activating this doesn't do anything yet. Activating this at least gives me a scry, which I think would be relatively valuable now. So we're going to take a scry. I don't see a compelling reason not to play this and just use the token for tapping next turn, because I don't really need it. Magic, thank you for the host. Glad to have y'all around here. Three, four, five. Okay, awful close to dead. May want to be a little more careful about where we use our Dawnbringer Cleric. Because this Dracolich needs to see the dawn. Yeah, we need combinations of cards that we cannot draw. So the game is functionally over. I mean, I was kind of describing a deck where you think your cards are going to be better than your opponent's, and our opponent kind of has that. So if there was ever a spot I could see a flump being justified, this is it. That's cute, but they found lethal. Yuck. Actually, they didn't find lethal. They should have swung team. But none of that gonna help us. All right, so another half-elf monk is looking good again over the Herald. I might should have just played that. The Beholder seems fine too. The plate armor actually felt incredibly clunky and slow. Like I was never really able to play it. It didn't ever do anything. It would feel really weird to cut it. But it's possible that equipment just isn't what makes the difference in this matchup. The question is, if I don't play it, what am I bringing in for it? And the answer is probably a clattering skeleton. I think I'm actually okay with that. It blocks a significant number of things. Well, you say that. This really all comes down to Air Force. Greetings, Henry and Katri. Good to see you both. Tervetuloa. That means I might actually end up trying to race them and want the Paladin. This is a weird one. Exciting to be exploring the format. Somewhat late on. Alright, it's not a bad opener. Simwife, my favorite person. They're saying hello to the Finns, not me. Fair enough. Fair enough. I like this one a little better. What's up, Vincent? I'm doing well, and I'm very much looking forward to the new set. I hope that things are going well in your world. You stop it.
I will remember the fallen.
I was using that. Yeah, the merchant's got to die for sure. That card's too good. Are you a vampire kind of guy or a werewolf kind of guy? No, I'm not. There's a historic brawl tournament? More of a whale mail? I can appreciate that. I like the idea of Beholder into Flying Beholder into They're at 2 life, and we can probably find a way to finish the game. That's what we're going for here. Our draw was very aggressive, so I think I can kill them. That's cool, Vincent. Twilight isn't the only media that's depicted vampires and werewolves as mortal enemies, right? Like, we've seen that all over the place. Underworld, that's what I was trying to remember. Underworld and then White Wolf games basically did too, right? Like, I seem to remember vampire and werewolf, they hated each other. Why would vampires and werewolves hate each other? Seems like they might get along. Be like, I like to eat humans. You like to eat humans. Maybe we could work together and eat more humans. Because they're both in love with the same high school girl. There you go. Why would they not? I'm just saying, like, what is there that's inherent about them not liking each other? That's a bold move, Cotton. So the natural order is people who turn into wolves? I don't know. That doesn't seem very natural. I've never seen a person naturally turn into a wolf. So I can make them chomp if I minimus containment the paladin. I don't think I have a win here, right? Because I can get 2 blockers out of the way, meaning they block 2 things. They would block the Beholder and the Monk and take 1. 1 isn't lethal. I need to use the Minimus, and I'm not sure where I need to use it. Because I think I need to use it on the Herald, which is bizarre to me. They would go to 1. But I can't really force through the final points of damage. I think we're going to try to end of turn tap, untap, tap again, which means I basically need to survive the next turn. I think getting the planar ally out of the way is my best way to do that. Because I can functionally tap 2 creatures with the half-elf monk and still attack with it. And I think if they're rolling with the Herald hoping to high roll into gain life, we win that game. Now, I still need to top deck a removal spell, but I'm planning on it. See, there's one. A vampire would never respect Q culture? What does that mean? Like how British people like to get in lines? Well, shoot, that's unfortunate. This game's gonna come down to a dice roll. Adventures in Forgotten Realms, ladies and gentlemen. They needed to roll a 10 or better, and they rolled a 20. Game over, man! Game over! Variance has always existed. What are you going to do with your $1 million? That's rough. That's rough. I have to take the glasses off when I get punched in the face that hard. I don't want them to break. Oh, that was brutal. It's absolutely brutal. All right, let's see if we can get a 2-1 out of this, because I think the deck is capable of it. We had that if they roll a 9 or under. So it was technically in their favor once they had the Gideon's Herpaderp when we attacked. I hope you find one that you like, Vincent. I suppose it's a statement about how I am somewhat losing a bit of interest in the current draft format, that I'm starting to be like, okay, how do the Magic tournaments work? And a lot of people ask me if I qualified for the thing, what's the every 3 months they have a tournament, the Open. I was like, no, I didn't. And then I was like, well, why didn't I? Turn 1 Warlock class ain't the worst. Are you not able to play on Saturday? Ah, board gaming with wife time. That seems like a fair thing to be doing. I believe in you, plate armor. Also, I believe you'd like it, and I wanted to watch you try them. The gladiator tournaments, okay. I thought you meant playing board games. It's like, probably not my jam. Touche. Sphene, thank you for the resub. Y'all spam some cats for Sphene. Thank you very much for your support over the past 6 months. Much appreciated, my friend. Go get him, Harold. I will show you the way to spam cats. You do it like this. I can't. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Harold can be whatever Harold wants. Seguin, thank you for the resub. That's a new sub. What up? Thank you very much. Unglued, thank you for the resub. Much hype. Very wow. Thank y'all very much. Thank you, boys and girls. I can't imagine them coming back from this. But we can take away what do we think they're up to. And it looks like red-green aggro? Because this is dead. Boop. The Warlock, it does something. I've never seen Brazen Dwarf in a green-red deck. And I really haven't seen Goblin Yavalineer outside of a black-red deck. So we've got a Sabrew. Seguin, is that how I would say your name? Seguin? New formats in about 2 weeks, Scary. Seguin. All right. Thank you for the assist, Martin. Y'all spam some Martins for Martin. Okay, is there anything that we think will be bad? Because I feel like I'm going to need to be blocking early. This deck doesn't have a sideboard. Like, I keep looking through it and wanting something. There's literally no sideboard here. There's nothing I can do with this. This either works or we die. So let's hope it works. I still don't quite understand the plus sign on my cursor. I'm not just sure. I'm cursor positive. It suggests that I add more cards. There you go. Go get him, little geese. You're still on this werewolves wouldn't respect a queue. I appreciate that, Scary. We're not here to make fun of my opponent. I signed up for you to watch my gameplay. They did not. I would agree that this is not a land I have played. But some people don't know that, and some people play games for different reasons. I can remember watching Magic streams and thinking things like, that player is so bad when looking at someone's opponent. But I also realize that I'm that player in some other games. For example, I play World of Warcraft. We had a raid last night. We downed Sylvanas on normal. It felt pretty good. But I'm not min-maxing. I could be doing more deeps than I am. But I'm kind of just playing for fun and to hang out with my buddies. And it's okay to play Magic that way too. Maybe you need to get a few cards for your deck. You've got some extra gold. You can do a draft even though it's not really your thing. And my guess is that's what this opponent is doing. But I imagine if I streamed my WoW gameplay, there would be plenty of people. I mean, heck, I stream Magic gameplay, and there's plenty of people that are like, you're bad. You could have made a better play. And sometimes they're even right. But there's lots of reasons to play games, and playing them perfectly is only a reason for some people. So even though that is my goal when I'm playing Magic, I tend not to criticize opponents who are not doing that. Warlock class has been pretty good in this stag. I think generally speaking, if you're kind as a default to most people, it's only upside. Pretty good magic missile. Not good enough, but pretty good. I probably should have activated this first. This is a new album from Streamtastical Tunes. which we've played plenty of times. It's Mima's record label. This is just a new album from it. Which I think is pretty good. Yeah, I did this in the wrong order, but I think it'll be okay here. It's a good idea not to get complacent, generally speaking, because it's possible that they could kill this, play a 6-6, and then actually win this game. So let's try and make sure that that's not the case. Yeah, and that's fair, Chris. And I wasn't meaning to beat you up about that. Just kind of set a general tone. Okay, never mind. I think we got this. Nothing to worry about. Boop. I have found from my perspective, though, when talking about plays and understanding things, I mean, if you want to comment your opponent is bad, you know, you can probably say that in a nice way if you'd like. Sometimes I will say that's a questionable play. That's a bold move. Things like that if you want to do that. However, if you want to ask questions, yeah, it is good to point out for new players who are looking to get better. So what I would do is encourage those new players to ask questions, such as, Travis, would you ever play Treasure Trove? Somebody did that earlier with, in what deck would you play Flumph? And I was like, I wouldn't. So I think that can start get you thinking about why Flumph is a bad card. So I think questions are really, really good. That's a good way to do that. And occasionally, I've said a card is bad and later realized I was wrong. The card was good and had a place in a format. Goldvein Pick is a wonderful example. I remember for the first 2 weeks of Kaldheim, I was like, this card sucks. You shouldn't play it. And then 2.5 weeks later, I'm like, you should first pick this card. And I did, and we started winning. So like that can certainly happen over time, but questions is a good way to do that. Anyway, not unhappy with a 2-1. Big thank you and shout out to my patrons. Thank you for supporting the work that I'm doing here on YouTube. If you'd like to support as well, there's a link below to my Patreon. You can see your name up here in lights and get some cool rewards and be as awesome as these folks. Thank you very much for your support.